shying away from. I meant to do this topic a few weeks ago, but I just kind of trying to cover so many different things, so many different topics. So, and I definitely want you guys, any of y'all that have an opinion about this, please go ahead and chime in. Like I know y'all pretty opinionated and fact-driven people, so hey, whenever you want to jump in and discuss something, talk about something, you got a point to chime in. You got a particular disrespectful immigrant who's coming over here leeching off of Black Americans, talking noise. Please share it with the space. It would be most appreciated. Trust me, be most appreciated. DJ, I'm gonna go ahead and make you a co-host. Definitely be discussing this here. We got two people that we know well: Austin Chain, Nigerian immigrant. Fool here. We got Winston Sears, Jamaican immigrant, and then we got another one here named Kimberly Fiorello. Kimberly is located in Connecticut, and she's a Republican Congress lady who had quite a bit to say about Black Juneteenth and Black history and the how did she put it? She was talking about basically any problems in the country, not race based. We need to stop that. We need to get away from that. Now this is somebody who immigrated to this country who was living off of the civil rights movement, sitting up here talking noise. Now she's talking about Juneteenth wasn't. It shouldn't be just it be celebrated by Black people because Juneteenth was actually a holiday for everybody, equality and this and that. When that's not true, Juneteenth was not for everybody. Juneteenth was specifically for one group of people in this country. Whether you agree with Juneteenth or you think it's just symbolic garbage, just a symbolic gesture that means nothing, hey, I got no problem with that because Juneteenth ain't putting money in none of our pockets. Juneteenth is just, it has been commercialized. We see the way that corporate white America is taking advantage of that, and they are killing it with this Juneteenth thing. But for a Korean immigrant to come over here and tell Black people what's their history and what's not their history, I find that a little bit disingenuous and disrespectful because we would never go to Korea and tell your people what's their history and what they should respect and this and that, something that's specifically for you, and say that it was for everybody when I'm sure it was less than 1% of Asian people in the country when Black people was freed as slaves. So to sit up here and pop off at the mouth and talk about something that's specifically for Black people is everybody's history and any struggles that go in this country, we got to get away from. It's not racism. It was just nonsense. And then we got my man Austin Chang, like I say, the Nigerian, who's been popping off. Who was popping off quite a bit. Austin was running for governor up there in Michigan. Oh, DJ, you get in my pocket. So, I'm saying I can hear you like the feedback in the. Yeah. I'm still rolling outside, man, rolling around. But what's good, everybody? Reparations are Black first on a Sunday, you know what I mean? But yeah, I hear y'all, man. I'm about to tell y'all L story as soon as I get back to the house in about 10 minutes. Yeah, do that, man. Go ahead and chime in when you get a chance or whatever. And like I said, we got Austin Shane. Austin was up here sitting up here talking about he's going to eliminate Black History Month because Black history is racist and there's only one history. When you start getting Negroes up here talking about there's only one history, somebody that immigrated to the country wasn't even born over here. Somebody who benefits from his skin tone when it's an advantage for him. Just like Kamala Harris, she goes back and forth between Black and being Asian. Now we got an election cycle up, and she's Black now. She's doing a little sister girl routine, and she's gonna be hitting the fraternities and sororities up. And I just heard her damn talking about collard greens yesterday. I'm like, this woman can't cook no goddamn collard greens. What is she sitting up here talking about? So she goes between making her Indian curry spices to collard greens. So another Barack Obama, when you heard Barack, when he got around Black people, his whole vernacular would change. His whole tone of voice would change. When he got around white people, he was so articulate and astute. When he got around Black people, he was like one of them Sunday preachers. The tone in his voice changed, and he started giving me that Baptist preaching, and we gonna rise, and we gonna do stuff that he wouldn't even normally say. He's buried with them. He's Barack with us. So, and then we got Winston Sears, a Jamaican immigrant, a Jamaican woman who was the first ever Black female lieutenant governor of the great state of Virginia. Winston Sears is another one that's telling us that you should get over slavery. Now, Winston Sears would never have the balls to go say that to the Jamaicans and CARICOM down in the Caribbean, but she's going to sit up here and tell black people in the United States of America, a place that her ancestors had nothing to do with the wealth or the building of. She's going to tell us what we should get over with and get done with. See, it never fails. A lot of these black people, once they get in the power positions, is when they really start mouthing off and they started really start talking hard and talking stupid and whatnot. So, and that's not even the pull into account all the immigrants that we have in entertainment, the DJ academics, and some of the other ones claiming hip hop and this and that. So tonight, this space here is just going to be anything that we're just talking about is about how immigrants, mainly in politics, are trashing Black American culture, but completely no regard. And then you have nobody in Black American culture standing up saying anything about it. You have no notable Black person any words saying, "Hey, you can't say this. You can't do this." Y'all remember, like, what was it, last year? I think Michael B. Jordan was talking about doing some kind of liquor brand for Trinidad and Tobago, and they had a fit. You had Nicki Minaj, and everybody talking about cultural appropriation. Now, you sitting up here and became damn near a billionaire in rap, hip hop, and you got a man up here talking about doing a liquor brand. Now, you can come to America, you can infuse yourself into our culture, you can make millions, close to billions of dollars doing an art form that we created, and the entire world is copying, from the K-pop to the what's the one over there in Nigeria, the Afro beats and all this other stuff. Everybody done set up here and just copied and taken from Black Americans. But now when we get ready, one of ours says, "Well, we're gonna open up a brand, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that." Well, you can't do this because you're not one of us. See, that's that dual game that we got too many immigrants, especially the black ones, playing. You're black when it's suitable, but then you're Jamaican, you're Nigerian, or you're a Ghanaian, you're this, a Ethiopian, and all this other stuff is beneficial for you. Go ahead, DJ. DJ. DJ, you got your hand up. Can you hear me? He just got his hand up, or what if he can hear me or not? But yeah, like, you just got so many of them that's actually when it's beneficial for them, they're black. So I can understand this whole B1 thing that's been going on lately. You know, I'm definitely B1 or whatever. But first and foremost, I'm B1 to Black American. I don't have anything against anybody in the diaspora. And if you got that, if you on code with us, and there's anything I can do for you, hey, I will do it as long as you do it for my people too. Go ahead, DJ. Yeah, apologize about that. I got dropped down in the chat. I'm in a supermarket right now. So basically, that was the Joe Vert liquor you was talking about with Michael B. Jordan and Nicki Minaj. Joe Vert liquor. I'll try to post it to the Jumbotron. This heifer had the nerve to up here and get mad. Now she done made millions of dollars. I mean, let's be for real. I mean, and they ain't even that damn good. I mean, I know we might have some Nicki Minaj fans in here, but she ain't no Latifah. She ain't no MC Light. She ain't no Lauryn Hill. And they made millions of dollars off this bullshit, stealing Lil' Kim style even. And next time when a black dude come up here, tell like he gonna create his own liquor brand, you ain't Trinidadian. Yeah, you ain't Black American. Yet you still a million off our art form. Tady, I see you got your hand up. You want to speak? Go ahead.
Yes, brother. Thank you for having this space, and I thank you for letting me speak. I wanted to speak towards. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I put it on the timeline, and it got shared quite a bit. But on Juneteenth on Juneteenth and Father's Day, Joy Ann Reid and the rest of these Democratic shills tether non-Black American, white Hispanic fractions are going to be releasing some type of little segment called Black Women Are the Culture. I have a big ass problem with that. First and foremost, there's not a single Black American woman that's on that panel. All of them are either immigrants, half biracial, and are Hispanic, white Hispanics, but are Black for whatever benefit that they can get from it. They're not going to be talking about reparations. They're not going to be talking about anything that is conducive to keeping the Black family structure together. They're not going to be talking about any of the issues that we directly face in the Black community. This is going to be some type of feminist panel because I seen KRS2, as I like to call her. She looks just like KRS1, so I call her KRS2. I don't know her name, whatever her name is, but y'all know who I'm talking about, that Me Too girl. And it's going to be a whole bunch of feminists, less direct in its a type of anything positive away from the Black family. Let's not even regard the Black man at all, even though this is going to be being released on Father's Day. So I have a big problem with that, and this is why I do not subscribe to who are going around cosplaying Black American women, speaking for us, and their lineage does not match any of the oppression. It doesn't match any of the sacrifices that our ancestors had to make for them to be able to come over here in the first place. And all they do is, because we have the same pigmentation in our skin, they are chosen to be the talking point, the mouthpieces for Black American women. And I don't like that. And 9 times out of 10, the agenda is always to undermine the Black man. So yeah, I definitely have a problem with that. I hope that we as Black American women come to our senses and understand when we are being played. We're always being played by the Democratic Party. We're always being used and upheld for all the wrong reasons. And for whatever reason or another, we haven't come to the conclusion that that's a problem. So I just want us to be very mindful and make sure that we're calling this stuff out as well. Every time we see it, we need to be calling it out, letting them know that they do not speak for us and they do not represent us. And I just wanted to bring some attention to that. That's going to be airing on Juneteenth and Father's Day, which is the 19th.
KD, now is that because I had that on my site on Newstoter? If you guys have not been to Newstoter.com, please visit Newstoter.com. Newstoter.com is the ultimate curator of Black news in America today. We are the largest aggregator of Black news in America. KD, I had that on my site. Now, is this one of the specials that damn CNN is supposed to be pulling off as well?
I believe so, brother. I seen it the day before yesterday. I subtweeted it because I listened to the little trailer and I'm looking around at who's up there, and I'm like, okay, none of them are of our lineage. And then when I saw the title of it, Black Women Are the Culture, I really didn't like that. They are trying their best to push this damn gender divide between us and y'all, and we just keep letting them do it by having the wrong people as the mouthpieces and the spokesperson for Black American women. We have to reclaim our voice as far as the representation is concerned, because we got a lot of people who are speaking for us, and they are the ones that are pushing this divide between us and y'all, and I do not like that. And of all days to air this, Father's Day, like that, come on now. You could have did that last week. You could have did that, last month. But to pick specifically Father's Day in addition to it being Juneteenth to air that shit, yeah, I see the agenda, but I'm not going for it, and I don't want us to go for it either.
Sister, you hit the nail on the head there, and that's another thing that I had a problem with. With this Me Too shit, they want to talk about. It's a catchy term when you say the Me Too, and when you talk about Black Lives Matter, how they intertwine it all together. It was catchy when people hear Black Lives Matter. That pulls at the heartstrings. You're like, okay, yeah, Black lives does matter. And you want to use all the deaths of these Black men being gunned down in the street as a goddamn slogan and as a motto to show or whatever. But at the same time, you have this serious hatred, this serious attachment of Black men. Yeah, I have a major problem with that. And you're right, they keep playing up this gender divide. And like I say, you can't get any Black person with a name to step up and say, well, hey, man, enough is enough. We as Black people we gotta kind of wake up from this too, even from the entertainment and stuff like that, where it's constantly Black men dogging Black women dogging Black men, vice versa, is going back and forth to these little shitty talk shows they have on in the daytime, and they talk about Black men ain't this, Black men ain't that. And like I say, you won't catch any of these Black entertainers, anything, calling out some of these other Black entertainers in their area, saying, well, hey, you got damn people disrespecting people like excuse me, 1 second there, y'all. You got people disrespecting people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and this and that and whatnot. And it just, and we, like I said, we don't call it out. We don't say anything about that. We just go ahead and we let people, you got Cardi B was disrespecting. You got Rihanna was disrespecting. All these people was disrespecting icons. Icons. You would not catch a black person going to goddamn South Africa and putting goals in their mouth talking about they Nelson Mandela. You would not have a black woman in her bra out there talking about she's Winnie Mandela and whatnot. And we sit here and we let these people go ahead and disrespect the culture. We let people get in politics, sitting up here telling us what should matter to us. When that people wasn't even here, people wouldn't even show up for another 120, 130 years later. So yeah, I got a problem with that. This whole gender divide garbage that they doing, and we're sitting up here, and the biggest stars in black entertainment go right along with this gender divide stuff. They sit right up there and they champion it. All these, the damn Juneteenth, you had all these people, and that's something I'm glad you brought it up. Trying to play gender divide, you had black men that gave their lives and fought in the damn Civil War, and you're gonna put this garbage on damn Father's Day, and you're gonna try to exclude the black man who fought and died for the rights of everybody in this country, along with black women, but they have served in every major war in this country. You're gonna sit up here and try to play divide and conquer with us? No, I ain't going for that. That's why I put this space together tonight, because like enough is enough. We got to start sitting up. We got to start holding these people accountable, because the people that have a name, the people that have clout and power, they want to stay up there. They're not going to say anything. The rappers, the ball players, the actors, none of these people going to sit up there and say nothing, because they don't want their gravy train to get cut off. They're going to sit up there and keep getting their Scooby snacks. So I'm glad that you stepped up into it and you said this, because I've been feeling this for a while. And I want to hold a space about this tonight. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad to see black women sitting up here who can see through the garbage, who can see through the BS. They can see through the gender divide game that these people started in the late 60s with this garbage, how they infiltrated the civil rights movement, how they told black people basically, if you want to be able to do anything in this country, you need to get down with our agenda and we'll help y'all with racism and this and that. And that was a bunch of bunk. They had no plans on helping black people with racism. You go ahead and you support this type of marriage, you support this type of lifestyle, go ahead and kill your baby by the millions and all this other crap. And we took this line and sink. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. DJ, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, facts on what Sister KD is saying. 100%, your own point as usual, sister. But don't forget the most recent events of these fresh and fit tellers, Myron and the other dude, talking about black American men and what it is we do that's wrong versus right or whatever, because we had X amount of years in this country. That don't mean nothing. You over here for a particular reason, fam. You ain't over here to help us fight no type of black, help us fight no white supremacy. You ain't help us trying to be black and none of that other stuff. So definitely don't be over here running your mouth. And then a couple days after they said that, they wound up getting robbed, fam. See that? God don't like ugly.
Yeah, they constantly sticking their nose in our business and stuff like that. Like I say, we don't go to none of these foreign countries, none of these foreign lands. We don't sit up there and undermine their politics. We don't undermine their culture. We don't insult them. We don't steal resources from them. We don't take stuff from them. Anything we've added, everybody in the world has come here and benefited off of the damn civil rights movement. And I'm talking about white immigrants, Latino immigrants, black immigrants, Asian immigrants, any immigrant that's ever come to this country. White women, too, have benefited the most. And everybody sits up here talking all this bunk. Now, you got this chick is from Korea, Kimberly Farrello, up here talking about black people and the Juneteenth was for everybody and all of the problems in the country ain't based on racism and we need to stop and this and that. She's a damn immigrant sitting up here talking noise. She went ahead and she voted for the Juneteenth. Like I said, Juneteenth to me is symbolic. Juneteenth is not gonna better us at all. Juneteenth was a nice gesture, supposedly, by Joe Biden to show that he did something for black people. But Juneteenth ain't gonna put no money in your pocket. It ain't gonna put no clothes on your back. It ain't gonna put no roof over your child's head. None of that. So all of this stuff here means absolutely nothing. It's just for show. If anybody wants, like I said, I told you before, if anybody wants to add in or chime into this conversation tonight, this is gonna be a heated debate. This is something that's needed. So anybody that wants to speak and say something, you can go ahead. And if anybody knows, who was the cat? It was a Dominican cat that was against reparations too. Black cat. I'm trying to think, what state was this dude in? Black cat, Dominican. And he was sitting up here talking shit about reparations and whatnot. He's not even eligible to get it, and he's running his mouth about it. Michael something. I cannot think of who this dude was, where he's from, but he was a Dominican cat. Because we know how Dominicans hate themselves, how self-loathing some of them are. I'm not gonna say all of them, but you got a bunch of them on that island that's black and want to be Spaniards, want to be related to the Queen Isabel and all this other garbage. Don't give a damn about their own people, and they sitting up here running their mouth talking about us. I cannot think of this dude's name. Who the hell is it? Michael. If anybody in the chat knows this dude, please raise your hand, because I cannot think. And then you got a bunch of people in California, immigrants and non-blacks up here determining about the reparation thing in California. Like, this should be made up of black people, black Americans. You should not be having a bunch of foreigners sitting up here determining the fate of black people in this country. If we should have reparation, and then it passed by the smallest of margin. I'm tired of all these studies. I'm tired of all of these reports, all these commissions. We don't need all these reports and all these commissions when it comes to giving Ukraine $40 billion. We just go ahead in the Congress, we pass whatever, and we give Ukraine the money that they need. When it comes to black people, we have to have a commission, have to have a study, we have to have analysis, we have to get feedback, we have to research it, we have to play ring around the rosies and all this other crap. When it comes to everybody else, hey, just like that. And then you got more migrants coming up here to this country. You got Ukraine. I live in Florida. A bunch of Ukrainians just came here, right here in Florida, right here in the Panhandle in Tallahassee. A bunch of Ukrainians just came here the other day. So if they come into Florida, which we already know is becoming an immigrant-ran state, you can imagine that they're going to be coming into places that you live at next. Going to be getting resources that you should be getting, and then everybody, you know what I'm saying, they has a problem when it comes to you. They don't have a problem giving these resources to illegals and putting them up in hotels and giving them money and this and that. But when you ask for something, it's a problem. When you ask for dollars and you ask for anything worthwhile, it's a problem with that. So it's gonna escalate. It's gonna get much worse unless we start stepping up saying stuff.
Can you hear me good, brother?
I can hear you, bro. Go ahead.
Thank you for holding the space, my brother. It is definitely a benefit. Much love to you, brother DJ said. So I put some links up in the Jumbotron. I'm glad you kind of threw this topic up out of here because we kind of was addressing this last night. It was supposed to be our reparations vision and ideas, but you know, we could be chilling, and next thing you know, it could be a Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it's time to mount up. So we went ahead and got some things done yesterday. We put out tweets and acts like that, and we went ahead and actually checked this woman and checked her, and we see that she is exactly what this title talk about: an immigrant in politics, trashing Black American culture. So a lot of people can go ahead and actually go on her page. She went ahead and blocked a lot of us last night. We didn't say anything about her. I threw the recording up there. We recorded it and all, brother. And hey, I'm still on Twitter now. I'm not blocked. Nothing's happening because we didn't say anything disparaging or wrong towards this woman. But she has spoken ill of our reparations. And what I'm taking, the position I've taken vehemently, or the ancestors has allowed me to take, is that speaking against our reparations speaks against them, their dignity, the purpose that they laid, the foundation that they produced. The land that they sowed, the toiled, and produced full benefit economically and substantially for families and generations that still perceive to get that benefit of that wealth today without ever working for it. And so when you disrespect reparations, you disrespect their love, their work, their spirit. And so I've taken a position of her speaking is akin to anti-Semitism. It is dangerous. It promotes those like the Buffalo Shooter. It makes those who are like the Buffalo Shooter, who think that they can disrespect and pay our elders in reparations with bullets, as opposed to financial cash reparations. It promotes that type of mindset that you can disrespect us at all costs, even our dead ancestors. And I've just firmly taken a stance and said, no, this is not allowable anymore. This shall not be tolerated anymore. And she is an executive director in her county, for the county, and she also is an executive IT director over there at Amazon. So if the family could do a whole service
and contact Amazon, contact her county, contact the school that gives her validation, and just make it known that this is one person to what the topic of this room directly applies for an immigrant in politics, trashing Black American culture, and our reparations is part and parcel to our culture. And I land there, brother. I appreciate the space. I'm listening over here with a humble and open heart and open ears and definitely enjoying the vibes. Much love to the family on this Sunday and much, much blessings to the foundational Black American Negroes whose ancestors are rising up in this time and those dry bones are speaking as we speak for them. Much love, family.
My thing is this, Irony. You always, like I say, whenever you come to the space, you always drop knowledge and you always do it from a sincere point. My thing is this: is why aren't any black people in politics, any black people with any real power, saying anything about this stuff? I mean, they just sit back and if this was a white person, a white American saying this kind of stuff, they would say something. But it seems like when it comes to immigrants in this country, it's almost like a hands-off type thing. Like, well, I don't want to piss them off because they're part of the minority coalition too. They're part of the people of color organization, the Rainbow Coalition, and all this other stuff. We sit up here and we let these people trash us. We sit up here and we let these people cultural appropriate everything in music. Like, I don't have anything against Bruno Mars, but goddamn, I mean, goddamn, bro. This man is just straight up just stealing black culture. And I guess we've been allowing it for so long for people like Elvis and the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and everything else that we just sit up here and we just accept it. But we don't have any black person, even when the whole hip hop thing started, and people were sitting there, because growing up, the Jamaican thing is something that came later. I heard that later on, but growing up, they always thought hip hop was formed in the Bronx by Hispanics and black people. And I'm like, what? And you had a bunch of black people saying, yeah, well, we had some black people from New York saying, yeah, Hispanics and stuff. And I'm like, but damn, like, why don't you ever have black people stand up on their own shield and say something about this? Say, hey, man, this ain't right. Black people, like I say, when Rihanna and Nicki Minaj has done it a few times, when they've said disrespectful things, there's people online that say something back. You don't hear any other person that's their peer in their industry saying anything like, hey, you went too far. You disrespected my people. Like I said, but now when you do something to their people or say something about them, let you say something about Bob Marley or something like that and see how many Jamaicans come up and just be pissed off and upset. But when it comes to our people, we don't say anything. So to me, that is somewhat troubling. That is somewhat upsetting that we just sit there and we just take it. Now, if it's, like I said, if it's a white person, we will probably say something. We'll say something. But another black person from another country, we ain't saying nothing. God forbid it be a Hispanic and they trash us, we ain't gonna say nothing. A Latino, we ain't saying nothing. An Asian, we ain't saying nothing. White person, like I said, we'll muster up some courage. We'll muster up some nerve to open our mouth and mumble a few things out. But anybody else, we just sit there because we want to be we want to be loved by everybody, and that's our main problem. We haven't developed that killer mentality that all these other races have. We got a killer mentality with each other. Now, we'll step on each other in a minute, but I'm talking about anybody outside of us. We haven't developed that. White people have that killer mentality. Asians are starting to develop it again because they had it thousands of years ago. We as black people, we don't have it, and we need to get it, and we need to make sure we sharpen it every day, whittling a knife on damn wood to keep it sharp, to keep our mindset sharp. We should be focused right now on just building for ourselves and building for the future generations. And we can't sit up here and allow people, Muppets up here, to sit up here and just tear us down and whatnot, and we don't do anything. People think that you can beat on a black person and they're not going to do anything. And we as black people think that, hey, we should be beat on. We think about what we're going to inherit down the road and this and that. There's nothing great about being a stepping stone, which we've been. We're a stepping stone for every other race now in this country. And like I said, you got immigrants, first generation immigrants, running their mouths, telling you about black history. This dude's from damn Nigeria talking about he's going to get rid of black history, saying everything he can to appease his white voting block up there. And then the punk dropped out of the damn governor race. Didn't even go all the way through it. But he said just enough so he can win fancy with his masters by dogging us. And we just sat there and took it. So to me, like I said, this is very troubling. Go ahead, Ira. I know you want to chime in.
No, brother, I was just building, and I was just going to respond to it. What it is that it's been societally acceptable to go ahead and cause harm to us without consequence. When you look at every action that has happened to us, we'll protest and revolt, but we won't really take an affirmative action, whether it be legislatively or physically, right? We have this notion that we're removed from nature, right? We got this thing where we don't understand that nature operates and benefits those who fight, and so when they see us not fighting, what they're essentially doing is going against what nature would have us do, right? Because, for instance, when you see a mama bear is just precariously somewhere in the woods, and her children are round about her in the distance, not too far from their screen. But once a mama bear hears a certain cry that goes to the degree of danger, mama bear responds with a certain force that overwhelms the force that may have perceived that may have made her child or her cub cry, even to the degree that a mama bear might not even know that the person that is in proximity with that bear, with that baby cub, might have not even done anything. That baby bear could have stepped on the thorn right next to a person who just happened to be walking. But when Mama Bear comes, due to the cry of the cub, Mama Bear perceives the threat to be that imminent proximal threat that might be there, which might be a man or whatever other animal. So the response from a Mama Bear in nature has this overwhelming force to anything that may cause harm or danger. But in nature, we don't have that. We don't have that overwhelming force to anything that will cause harm or danger that is in our proximity. People, we say, don't record or stuff like this. But yeah, while recording, we see somebody actually go ahead and take an affirmative action against one of their brothers being beat down because we've been taught there's a consequence for fighting or standing up for black. Even what we would see in on the optics of a Will and Jada. I'm not really for Chris or for Will, but what we're seeing is that the notion to defend anything black can get you a consequence that's going to be troubling. So when I see any type of action like that, or when any type of people go ahead and actually perceive this unnatural affinity to saying we can hurt them, they can't do anything, and if they do anything, we can shame them. That's just a tactic that was used to be able to hurt us. Only an abuser wants you in a position to be abused. Anybody who is of strength would never want to have you weak because if you're connected with them, you're the weakling. So when we see this Wu woman, we see her in politics, and we see her as an immigrant. She barely speaks any English. And if you want, brother, I can get my tablet and play the actual video of the woman speaking so the family can hear it themselves. And she's just literally going to the degree and saying that us getting reparations is dangerous. And, she puts out those trigger words to white society to say, yeah, we're not for this or we're not with this. So I find it from the position to approach this like the Jewish people do. You don't say anything about the Jewish people because there's a consequence for doing so. There's a consequence for tweeting it. You don't even have to say it. You can put some characters on a tweet or on a post, and you can lose a job from that. Speaking about that group, so we need to approach every angle of how we deal with those who encroach our group, like that Mama Bear spirit, from the perspective of like a Jewish person. And I land right there.
You say you got that on the tablet, bro?
Hey, baby girl. What I can do is I can grab my tablet and then I can go ahead and play it for you, and then go ahead and do it.
Okay, if you get a chance, go ahead and play it for everybody in the space so we can just hear that. Also, everybody, I put on Newstoter's YouTube channel in the Jumbotron. If you guys have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, go ahead and I put also the link to my newsletter in there. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the newsletter because at any time we on a white platform. Let's be for real. I have been in Twitter jail before, so it's not like I can't be there again. So at least if you subscribe to our newsletter, we can still be in touch with you and we can still drop information. You guys also check out the profile page on Newstoter. I think this last week I posted something like 100 news articles. So, I mean, the content is there. It was a slow day today, and I still post about 12, 13 news articles a day. And I would have posted more, but I got a little bit busy. But every day I'm posting anywhere from 10 to 20 some articles of news curated from other black websites that I just pick out and see which ones I think will be suited for the family to go ahead and digest. So go ahead and support Newstoter. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, subscribe to the newsletter. It's all in the Jumbotron. It's just a click, and it doesn't take anything. So please go ahead. And if you guys are on Newstoter, I'm looking to have viewers on Newstoter every day. So please go ahead and visit the site. You will find content I promise that you will enjoy looking at. From all different types of sources, whether you like news, politics, education, lifestyle, entertainment, anything we got on the website to suit you. I'm not writing the articles. These are curated articles from different sources. So go ahead and support. When you support news, so you support other black-owned media outlets, black-owned bloggers, black female bloggers, black lifestyle bloggers, black culture bloggers. So when you support news, so you're supporting black-owned news. You're supporting black-owned business. And if you guys also, if you have $1 that you would like to contribute to our Cash App, the Cash App is also in the Jumbotron. That's $Newstoter. That's $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest aggregator of black news today in America, and it's not even close. It's not close. We are the largest aggregator, largest curation news site, black-owned platform of curated black news in America today. Every day we putting in that work. So you guys, Irie, did you find that
Yes,
got
sir.
your tablet?
Yes, sir. I have it queued up, ready to go.
Go ahead and do it, man.
Okay, my brother, I got it right here.
Tonight, you're getting a sobering look.
Also, just to give some context, let me go ahead and I believe it might be my newest tweet. Okay, so the video that I'm playing for anyone wanting to know, it is called CFER, which is Californians for Equal Rights, on NBC7 News. Reparations perpetuate divisive race-based policymaking, and this is on the woman. She's the director for this group here in California, and the video I am playing is the furthest to the left in the Jumbotron, and so I'll play that video for you now.
Tonight, you're getting a sobering look at America and California's treatment of African Americans, courtesy of a study on reparations released today.
So we first told you about this reparations task force. Governor Newsom signed legislation creating the team back in 2020. NBC7's Amari Fleming is taking a look at what the report says and how these reparations might shape up.
So this report revealed that 400 years of discrimination created an enormous and persistent wealth gap between blacks and whites. So one of the ways to solve that, reparations like free tuition and also low-interest home loans to help level the playing field. The nearly 500-page interim reparations report released Wednesday, applauded by Dr. Adisa Alkubalan, the professor of Africana Studies at San Diego State University, is a longtime advocate for reparations.
It is a wonderful start.
The just-released report highlights the ongoing impact slavery has had on African Americans, specifically California's role.
California did not enter the Union as a slave state in 1850. It was plenty complicit with the institution of slavery, even passing fugitive slave laws.
Dr. Alkubalan says reparations aren't just about slavery, they're about the discrimination as well as racial and segregation laws that lingered for African Americans decades after slavery, leading to mass incarceration, education disparities, and housing discrimination to this day that makes it tough to obtain the home ownership dream.
Whether we're talking about the historic red line that happens in California and in other places, and African Americans are routinely, denied mortgage loans, or if they do receive, loans, it's at a extremely high interest rate.
Hoping to affect structural change, some of the report's suggestions include state-subsidized mortgage programs to guarantee low rates for African Americans. The task force also suggesting free health care and tuition in California colleges.
The biggest issue we have with this report is really how effective the recommendations and proposals can really help close down a lot of these gaps.
Dr. Whitney Wu is Executive Director of San Diego-based Californians for Equal Rights Foundation. The group is focused on merit-based educational advancement and was active in protesting racist remarks made by the San Diego superintendent, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusivity training.
Rather than solving real policy issues in our economy, in our healthcare system, in our criminal justice system, I am concerned that the reparations paradigm perpetuates divisive and counterproductive race-based policy.
Dr. Wu says her organization isn't opposed to reasonable measures based on need, not race, because of concerns that reparations could violate Proposition 209 or the state's constitutional ban on racial preferences. Regardless, supporters say they are needed to repair structural inequalities. Amari Fleming, NBC7.
A final report outlining exactly how much and the number of African Americans in California is expected to come out in a second report due in July of next year. Evanston, Illinois is the first U.S. city to make reparations available to Black residents.
That is it right there, my brother.
I saw that little reparation garbage that Evanston trying to pull too. Let me tell you something. The time you sitting up here talking about that you're gonna give Black people money to go out and buy houses and secure financing and this and that, that ain't reparations. First off, when you cut my check, you don't tell me what I get to spend it on or how I get to use it. Okay? I spend it and I'll cash it however the hell I want to. It's not simply to go out here and enrich more white people in this world. It's for my benefit. It's something that was earned already. So the fact that I don't trust these cities and stuff like that when they start coming up here with this reparation shit and they telling you exactly what little programs they got and it's for housing and it's for this and it's for that. No, sir. No, sir. It's for whatever the hell I say it's for. And that's exactly how I'm going to spend it. You don't tell me how I get to spend it. You don't tell me that I get to go ahead and put it in your bank and I get to go ahead and put it in your mortgage company and I get to make another generation of white people in this country wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. That's not what it's for. It's for Black people to build wealth. I'm going to get ready to pass this to you, Immortal. I just want to go ahead and say thank you to Mr. Smooth for your donation, your contribution on Cash App to the New Black Media and to this growing Black news aggregator, which is Newstoter.com. Go ahead, Immortal.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying because a lot of this economic hitman type activity is going on with reparations. So now that they realize that it must be paid, that we're not going to let it go, it's going to have to be paid. That is an economic hitman style of activity. Instead of just handing you your reparations, putting it in your hands, no, we'll loan it to you at a low interest and with these stipulations. That's not how this is supposed to work. Like when you go to your job, whatever you do, you don't come back on payday and get a loan. No, you come back on payday and get paid. So same thing with reparations. So we have to watch all this stuff. We won't need all these business grants that they claim that they want to give us if they give us what they owe us. Just put my money in my hand. A few of us will get together. We'll start doing business grants and loans straight up and down and let that, and if it's going to be any interest earned on business grants and loans in the Black community, let us earn that interest. Let us, so we can put it back into community and keep them dollars flowing. So watch out for all that and watch out for the rhetoric about the racial wealth gap, because there was a racial wealth gap at Black Wall Street where it seemed to me that the Black people who were running Black Wall Streets all over the nation had a little more higher standard of living than the white people and white supremacists who was living around them. And so there was a racial wealth gap there, and that's why they were attacked, and that's why they don't ever allow us to get those economic bases set up again, running highways through them and doing all kind of weird city ordinance that they only enforce against us and all the other redlining, all the other weird tactics that they use. It's only because they know once we even get a little bit, we will overshadow them. You know what I'm saying? But that's just life. Nobody's trying to overshadow you to harm you. You know what I'm saying? Black Wall Street harmed no one. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they can't stand it. But can stand it or not, stand on your reparations. Don't let them tell you housing programs. Anybody, if you get your reparations, say for example, I know we owed a lot more, but let's just say for example, each one of us get $2 million, every family member. So if you are a parent, you and your children. If you're a grandparent, you, your children, and your grandchildren. You're a great-grandparent, same thing. So you're going down through generations. And so say each one of us get $2 million. Well, you know, we won't need their housing. They upgraded Section 8 programs.
where they get to redline us again and put us where they want us to be, because they know 20 years later they're going to run a highway through there. They didn't already planned it, and they'll let us build up there and then run us out. No, we're going to do self-determination is paramount. Self-determination is paramount. That's part of reparations, deciding for yourself. And so all these weird different programs, education, all that kind of stuff, we educate ourselves. And so watch for all these economic hitman style, all these promotions of these economic hitman style of fake reparations, trick bag reparations. Watch out for that. I just wanted to build on that, what you were saying.
No doubt. No doubt. Before you go ahead, Ari, let me just go ahead and say thank you to Keisha and the DJ for their Cash App contributions as well. Mortal, just before I toss it to you, Ari, just to say, like the title of this, we're talking about immigrants. Like some of the biggest people, we already know that white people oppose it, but these immigrants are just as much opposed to it, because the first thing that come out their mouth is, well, we didn't own any slaves, and we didn't come over here to 1975 or 1980. So why should? My thing is, you live here in this country, you benefiting from the wealth. This country is the richest country in the history of the world. When you came to this country, this is a thing that people and that we fail to call people out on. People come here and they migrate and they leave their countries. Nobody leaves a plush place to come to another place. If your place is all that great, if your place is this paradise, you don't leave paradise to go move to the unknown place. You're leaving to better yourself and to better lives of your kids and your family. So when people pack their stuff up, they came to America because they heard America was the land of milk and honey, that America was a place that anybody could come there and work hard and pull themselves up and become a success. America is all of that because of one group of people was willing to, one group of people had to sacrifice it all for everybody else. The reason that this country was so young and became a world power, became a power in the Industrial Revolution, is because of black people, because of the surplus of money that we generated, the wealth that we generated. So when you came here from all over, from Asia and from Europe and from Latin America and from all these other places, you came to a place that was already a rich place, and it rose faster than most other places in the history of this country.
Just posted?
What was that?
I don't know, but that was rude. He's out of here.
Who said that?
That was Kevin.
Like what this dude like some of our people, man, I swear you can't really help some of these Negroes. Like, I mean, want to be ignorant. Oh, what the hell this dude? He just comes up in the space.
That wasn't even a Negro. That was an op. That's all. It's cleaned up.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more of those in the spaces. Like they just pop up out of nowhere just to come in here and just cause havoc. But just getting back to what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and toss to you, Ari. Like this country, like I'm tired of hearing immigrants, and I'm talking about the white ones and the black ones and the Asian ones and all the rest of them talking about, well, they didn't own slaves and their family came at the end of slavery and they came at the end of the civil rights. And I'm like, and I don't give a damn. Okay, you over here right now. You're in a world power. You're in the richest country that ever existed, which wealth was totally built by one group of people. Because of us, they were able to go ahead and bring in a bunch of outsiders to try to replace us and push us back. They wanted to create the much of the wealth gap as possible. And just to chime on what Immortal said, my father and my dad's side was born just outside of the town of Rosewood. Of course, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't around nowhere near that time, but he was born maybe about 30, 40 miles away from Rosewood. And Rosewood was another city, another town, another little black enclave that was doing great, was doing well. The black people that was living tremendous. And all of a sudden, you had another made up, you know what, this happened to a white woman, this and that. And all of a sudden, the town gets burnt down to the ground because of pure hatred. So, yeah, you're right. Like the whole racial wealth gap and stuff, there was a racial wealth gap in a lot of these towns because black people was doing it up. When they got a chance, they was doing it up and they was living well. And they was creating stuff for their own people. So, yeah, man, I'm not even trying to hear all this that we came over here and we didn't have anything to do with slaves. I never owned a slave, and why should we have to pay? And that's just going to make feelings hard for everybody else. I don't give a damn whose feelings is going to make hard for anybody else. The government is giving y'all grants and loans, putting y'all in black neighborhoods. displacing black business, has been doing it since the damn civil rights movement, been doing it from the time that segregation ended with the hopes of destroying us. We're the only group of people they told that, hey, if you're going to be implemented into mainstream society, you have to give up something. You have to give up your livelihood. They ain't never told that with the Asians, the Latinos, or no other group. But we're the only group of people they tell this garbage to. And we bought it line, hook, and sinker. Go ahead, Immortal.
Hold on. Just before you go, Brother Immortal, to give some credence and context to everything, pretty much the main part you were just finishing on, I just would like it to be known that whenever they try to say I didn't own any slaves, that has nothing to do with me. If you go into a brothel and that brothel participated in illegal distribution of alcohol back in the days, then you also are part of that brothels. If they get raided, everyone in the brothel gets put in handcuffs. If you go to a illegal operation and you work there and you don't own it, you just go to work, you have nothing to do with the illegal activities that go on from the main office, you will be put in handcuffs and you will be locked up like everyone else. This is the key. They come into America and they feel like the illegal activities of having slavery be the main driver and foundation upon which this land was built and has not been compensated nor properly done, is something that they can do without consequence. So anybody trying to run that type of rhetoric, you know where you came. That's why you didn't stay in your homeland. If your homeland was at war, why didn't you be a soldier and fight in your homeland for your country? That ends that conversation. To the other point that was made earlier that I wanted to get to, which is first and foremost, reparations is not a welfare program. I repeat, reparations is not a welfare program. It is compensation. When you go to work, do they pay you in coupons? Do they pay you in IOUs? Do they pay you in Bitcoin? Some people might get Bitcoin probably, but more than likely you get a check you take to a place and you get cash for it. That's the same thing we're getting. That's the same thing we're demanding. And we're not asking for anything. We're demanding what's owed. This is the last point I want to make before I land. They want to keep a tether to us. So they want you to write a grant. They want you to submit a form or an application. They want you to submit an application. But when you are holding your own wealth at the rate of 151 million, 2 million per year, 500,000 every 3 months, says the Newsweek study, not HR 40. Say no to HR 40, by the way. That's a hashtag. And HR 40 is not necessary because Newsweek already did a study that says each and every one of the bloodline lineage-based descendants of whom held slavery are owed 151 million from it. And so, since that's what we are accepting, even though we know it's way more, we're saying that as a baseline, we'll accept that, cut the check. And so, they're wanting to say, well, if we cut them a check, they remove the tether. And so, since they want to be tethered, they encourage grants, health care. No, we'll buy our own hospitals. We'll build our own healthcare systems. This is what reparations will do. And this is why reparations is the order of the day. And this is why immigrants and politics, trash in American black culture, one of which is reparations, is a no-go zone. It is akin to anti-Semitism, dangerous rhetoric. Auntie Yaya, I will land my plane, and you can go ahead and fly that baby and take off.
Yeah, Immortal, we're going to get to you. Let's let Yaya and Matt go first, and then I'm going to keep you in that third spot, because let's just hear from, I know Yaya is going to drop some knowledge. So go ahead, Yaya, unmute your mic.
Hi, good evening, you guys. I am outside, so I hope it's not too... It's around 80
No,
degrees
you're coming
with a
too
nice
far.
coastal breeze. Okay, perfect. I want to shout this out to all the immigrants that will say things like, my family came over after colonization. My family came over after slavery. My family wasn't here. My family didn't have slaves. Buses don't even run on Sunday, and here come a bus down the street. My family didn't have slaves. I have nothing to do with that. Why should I have to contribute to reparations? Answer twofold. Wow, what punks your family are. that they weren't even the initial ones that came over here and put down their blood to steal the land. So you guys waited until it was nice and safe and red carpets were rolled out. The only reason why you're here is because even after the initial attack of the colonizer, the wealth and the due diligence of our ancestors and family members created a plethora of nets, safety nets, to make this a safe place, a comfortable place, a place to aspire to come to, where women could talk, where you wouldn't get beat up, where your children wouldn't get molested by their fathers and not have consequences. Everything, every piece of fabric of this country that made it something that you wanted to aspire to come to is because of the work of my ancestors for work that they were not paid for. And the land that you were able to occupy when you came over here is land that was stolen from my ancestors, where you live and you frolic and you play. So you are actually in a stolen house receiving stolen goods, right? So you're not ignorant to anything at all. You came over here when the coast was clear. You didn't even have the balls of the Confederates. You didn't have the balls of the initial scouts and colonizers. You're the more trifling in them. You are the worst at receiving stolen goods because now you have the knowledge of everything and every atrocity that was done to my people. You no longer can hide behind religion and ignorance. And I didn't know. You actually, in your universities and your schools, learn about what was done to my people to create this land that you keep coming over to get unearned benefits. So I'm not buying you. You're the worst of the worst. And your luxury is on the back of a debt that is owed. Period. Thank you.
And I agree 100% what you said. And not only that, they still get damn benefits to this day. The government's still back dealing with them, still giving them grants and interest-free loans and everything else, still putting them in black neighborhoods so they can go ahead and they can prosper. I mean, how many damn Asian nail shops and how many damn and these food places and the convenience stores that they own. So the government is still backing it and still doing it. That was great what you said, y'all. I appreciate that. Matt, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, how y'all doing, man?
What's up?
Hey. Well, one of the things that I think we could do to push back a little bit is two things, actually, which is there's a lot of blacks throughout this country that own property. And I'm from Los Angeles originally, now living in Texas, but I grew up in an area where we had big plots of that are home settled. Most of them could put a duplex or triplex. We have to start practicing group economics, going on title with each other, and building up the land and never letting it go. Because when the Hispanics move in, that house will never go anywhere. It will just go to another family member when somebody die off. If somebody move back to Mexico, somebody else will take that house. Okay, so we have to start practicing that kind of stuff. Another thing is our younger people, 38 and under adults, they have to start reproducing. Black numbers are pretty steady in this country. We are not on a decline, but to stave off some of the immigration and illegal push, our younger women are going to have to put secondary education after marriage and and having kids and make that the priority. And we could boost our numbers literally millions, because we are probably 50 to 60 million right now. The count of us is so bad, and I don't even do the census, so I know a lot of other black people ain't doing the census. But we could boost our numbers and just do those two things right there alone. Give ourselves a better edge in this fight. And with that, that's all I have to say. I'm just going to keep listening to your show, man. Thanks.
No problem. Appreciate you chiming in. I'll say this one thing before I go ahead and pass it to Immortal. For all the talk that we have about black on black crime, black males out there killing each other, that hurts the numbers as well. But one thing that hurts it even more is the amount of abortions we have in this country. I know that's a different topic for a different night. But since 1970 something or whenever they put Roe v. versus Wade in, how many black babies, how many millions of them have been aborted in this country? I guarantee you've had more black babies aborted than you have had, say, black men killing each other. So that's something else that could help our numbers. That would help our numbers a great deal. I know, like I say, that's a sticky topic, and a lot of people feel like I have no business telling a woman this and that. But I'm from the school of thought that there's three parties involved in a baby. That's the man, that's the woman, and then that's the baby as well. So, like I say, that's a different topic from a different time. And more you go ahead and you take it.
Right on, fam. Wow, it's hard to follow Irie Farmer, Yaya, and Black Majority State. That's a rough hard to follow. So I just build like Irie Farmer said. When you got this talking point of what you don't owe because you wasn't here, I like what he said about that. And the only thing I could add to that is that's right. And I feel like when you sign a contract when you come here. When you come over here, you want to become a citizen of the United States. You want a little green card. You want all the goodies and stuff. And like Yaya said, you trifling because the way you act and carry yourself is messed up. You're supposed to want for everybody justice like you want for yourself. So if you want to be a part of a country that owes foundational Black Americans reparations, then do that and stop crying. You are asking to join a nation who owes us money. And just like, hey, you go to church, and sometimes people join a church, and the roof was leaking in the kitchen when you got there, but they still passed the building fund hat to you because you're a member of that church now. Now, as a member, it's your responsibility to make sure that everything goes properly in that place. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, you want to come over here, you want to be a member of this society. Well, this society owes us money, period, point blank. And last thing, Black Majority State is pointing out something that's being done right now by other groups. Other groups are looking at parts of the country, deciding that that's where they're going to move and build a economic and political base. They don't have to, go far, and they'll be right there doing business with their own people, consorting with their own people. And so it's vital. That's one of the things that's going to take us over, baby. Take us over the hill. So it's one of the things that's going to win it for us. Getting political control of a state. Business people, young people who want to further your employment or further your education, go down south if you can. Go back down south. There was a great migration where we came up into these cities. And now we rep these cities like they was, our strongholds in the past. Some of them was, but most of the time we was down in the south. We can feed ourselves down there. It won't take all of us. Don't have to move to these different states in order to take political and economic control of us. Just enough of us have to do it. So people throw the argument against it and say, I don't want to leave. Well, you don't have to. But just know you're going to be doing business with some people out of Jackson, Mississippi, for example. There'll be a lot of us down there working together. And if you're still in Kansas, city, then, get ready to do business with us because we're taking over politically down there. And that's so important. Malcolm X said that this nation is in a unique position, unlike any nation in the past, to have a bloodless revolution. And, but we have to do the work to see the justice form for ourselves. So I'll land it with that. Thank y'all for letting me speak. I'm going to drop down the list.
No problem, man. I appreciate you coming in. I also want to thank William for his contribution on Cash App. Has anybody noticed also, too, now that we got the reparation talk spreading, like everything that Black Americans do, it seems to just galvanize the entire world of this country. Now you have every other group, and that's not to say that's a bad thing, because you got groups over there in Africa, you got CARICOM, and you got all these other groups that's fighting for reparations. But you even got groups here now in this country saying, well, hey, we owed reparations. You got all kind of groups up in this country now talking about they owed reparations just from the talk that Black Americans started. So it's like wildfire. It catches on once we do something, it seems to catch on with everybody else. And I'm interested to see like how the politicians or how they're going to try to spin this, because at this point you can't go and give reparations to anybody else over Black Americans. You've been giving Native Americans all kind of things and whatnot for the past 100 and some odd years, and whenever it comes up to Black people, it's always an excuse of why we can't do this, why we can't do that. Joe Biden has signed all kind of legislation for Native Americans. I believe he signed more for Native Americans than any other president ever has. So when it's our time to get something popping, I don't want to hear it. And I think he also said, well, I will consider reparations for Black people if Native Americans. No, you're not. Nobody's going to be attached to this, bro. There's only one group that this is for. There's going to be no attachment. See, that was because they were able to pimp Black people back in the 60s with the civil rights movement, because they was able to add the LGBTQ, they was able to add white women, they was able to add all these so-called minority groups. Now they think that they can always squeeze somebody in there. And it's always the people of color. It's always the undeserved communities. It's always all this other stuff. So if you've had success being able to con Black people, they feel like, why can't we still con them? We cannot allow people to. We got to stop this. We got to stop this. Everybody's part of the struggle type crap, because everybody's not. Everybody's benefited from the Black struggle, but the Black people have not benefited from any Latino struggle. They have not benefited from any Native American struggle. They have not benefited from the LGBTQ struggle, the Asian struggle, the Arab struggle, or anybody else struggle. It's only one struggle that benefits all other people in this country, and that's the Black struggle. Nobody else. We're the only group of people that, when it comes to, even with the George Floyd Act and this and that, everybody, or I'm sorry, with the George Floyd uprising, you had all these other groups coming out there, chiming in, doing this, doing that, or whatever, and it was really basically a way of promoting their own self interest. People can come out there and say, well, yeah, just like they do in the 60s, yeah, I marched with Dr. King. Now they can get out there and they're going to tell their grandkids, I was out there marching about George Floyd being killed. So you have to be careful of this, and we still haven't learned. I heard that Reverend Al Sharpton was sitting up there, and he kind of was buck dancing about reparations and it being something more than just a cash payment and this and that. Nah, reparation is going to be a cash. It's going to be first a cash payment. It may have other things involved in it, land and definitely scholarships, guaranteed scholarships. But the most important thing is going to be money transaction. That's number one. And nothing that you can add in there is going to replace that. Anything else is going to be additional. And it's not going to take away from the 14 or $20 trillion that should be put in place for reparations. Now, if you want to go ahead and you want to add automatic scholarships and housing grants, not loans, but housing grants, and this and that and yada, 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 I'm all for it. But 14 to $20 trillion is going to be reserved strictly for those who descend from slaves in this country and nothing else. And it's not entitled to the Asians. It's not entitled to white women. It's not entitled to any other group. Strictly for Black people, Black Americans, FBA, ADOS, freedmen, whatever. People who descend from slavery. That's it. End of story. There's not going to be no holding hand moment here. There's not going to be a repeat of the civil rights movement. It's not going to be for everybody. We're going to put these Black politicians we're going to put them on blast as well. We got one who's hopefully has a chance of beating Jim Clyburn, Marcel. Hopefully he can go ahead and he can springboard this. He can pull off the upset, and we can get other like-minded individuals in place, because that's what you need. You really need an avalanche of a new set of politicians, Black politicians. And I won't say they have to be radical, but they have to have a Black first mindset. The agenda has to be strictly for Black people, and they have to call out these people in Congress and the Senate when they start having bills and they use Black people's name. Oh, this is going to be helping Black people, this and that. And then you start reading actual paperwork. Nah, bro, you done slipped like 6-7 groups in here. This ain't strictly for Black people. This is for everybody. And whenever something's for everybody, that means the crumbs are going to be left for the Black people. First, the white women are going to get the most of it. Let's be honest. White women are going to get the most, and then it's going to go Asian, Latino, LGBTQ, and whatever's left of the crumbs, you're going to get. So, no, we have to change our whole thought. Irie, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I did. I was just going to say that even when we think about like grants or anything like that, we don't even want to get any of those from them because we know that those have been layered with undermining and little underworkings that have manipulated the systems that perpetuate our negative growth. So it has to be a check. This is a non-negotiable, this is a debt. The person who injured don't get to decide how they pay you back. It's up to the person who's injured to write out their stuff and then put it to the government. And then we're putting that up with the 151 million that was done by a study from Newsweek. Now, if there's any contention, people need to go and talk to Newsweek about Newsweek sources. They need to go and speak to Newsweek about why did Newsweek put out false information, because if that's not the case, then they need to cut the check based off of the information that Newsweek has studied in depth and provided to the public and has stated it as each African American is owed 151 million per slave descendant. So that means each and every one of us is due that amount in the form of cash. We don't want it in any other form. And that right there is how you literally go ahead and actually effectuate real change. You put demands that are not moving, not wavering. You know how they used to tell you, be unwavering in your faith, be unshakable in your walk with God, be unfavorable to the enemy when they come your way. Well, God damn it, you're walking with God is reparations. It is godly. Genesis 15 verses 13 and 14. It talks about how after 400 years, the nation that we serve will be judged, and then after that we come out with a great substance. That great substance is called reparations in today's terms, and an understanding of that is what we're doing now. What I understand to be, as from every celebration that has been known, a brother brought it up, that every celebration in history that we have that has come from society, it is because the slaves were free. Whether we talk about Passover, every type of liberating moment calls for a new holiday. So we need to not let our holiday be tampered or tapered down with the false notion of something else besides cash payments. When they talk about the children of Israel leaving Egypt, they were given gold. They weren't given IOUs or grants. They were given real opportunities to go ahead and actually effectuate change because they owned and held the property, which gives them the value that they want. So when we talk about this conversation, we need to now push the notion and the facts that Newsweek has already done a study. It says it on the article, and the study was about us and our reparations and giving us 151 million per slave descendant. And then that is what's owed. That's what we're seeking, and that's what we want to have right now in the form of a cash payment. It comes out to be $2 million over 75 and a half years, and you'll get that. That's 500,000 every 3 months. They can deposit it if they don't want to pay it out in cash. They can do lines of credit. So therefore, the money that accrues, hey, I'm 10 years old, we built $20 million already. So now my 10-year-old can start on a business if they want with lines of interest-free credit that they got tax-free credit. Tax-free credit because there's no interest. We own it. And so when they go ahead and want to start a business, they can, or it sits in a fund for them to generate wealth with. And it's their money, not to be touched, not to be used by any other but themselves. When they come of age to go ahead and be competent enough, we have our own boards that we give it out from that are us, so that way we can say, hey, they got their money, this is them, they can do what they want. So now if there's a foster care system, we make sure that the children go straight to those descendants who already have reparations also, because it'll be lineage based, and that lineage based amount will go ahead and go to those people who got it, so we don't have to worry about having the money stolen, being in harm's way because they're a foster child that is getting reparations, and we don't want them to be just abducted and used as an extortion opportunity. So we're going to cover all of those bases once we get our money, and as they hand it out, we'll manifest a lot of more stuff at that time. But the study has been done. Newsweek has did it. If anyone has any questions with us coming to with that number, then they can go talk to Newsweek. Newsweek is not a small news aggregation; they're a major news company, and they put out historical news. They have magazines from time on time. So if there's an issue, the people can go there with their questions. But as it is now, cut our check. And that's what we demand. That's what we push. And everybody should know what their worth is when they look in the mirror. As a brother said, not land. He said, when I look in the mirror, I see a man that's 151 million, that's owed 151 million dollars, and I need my money because that's my value. So no more you valueless. You got all of that value in the world, and I land.
I wanna chime in on that figure, 151 million. And getting back to what we was talking about, when I was talking about the grants, like I say, I'm talking about the 14 to 20 trillion. That's money. That's set aside. They owe 14 to 20 trillion dollars. That much. I'm saying, but along with the 14 to 20 trillion, if you want to throw in anything extra like education and you want to give free grants, and that's what we need to have our grant writers go ahead. We got black grant writers. Go ahead and look over the paperwork and check that everything's everything. But the 14 to 20 trillion, oh yeah, that's money, that's cash that you're giving back. But the actual, like I say, there's extra things like land and stuff like, I'm not including the land, and I'm not including the scholarships, and I'm not including the housing grants that you're going to give away, that you're going to give. I'm not including that into the actual reparation payment. That's just extra. That's just extra stuff, along with new laws and stuff that you need to go ahead and set forth, making black people a protected class. So that type of stuff that I'm talking about, that doesn't even involve the actual cash. The cash already set aside is one thing. But I want to get back to that point, that mark that Newsweek came with 151 million, because I think I heard Tariq Nasheed speaking about that. Him and a couple other people saying that they felt that Newsweek put that amount out there so much to actually undermine the reparation talk, because there's no way in the world that they're going to be able to give black people $151 million per person. Like, that's just such an astronomical number. Like, I think I saw something that I've seen studies where they're talking about that the average black person, this is not news, but the average black person should get anywhere from $250,000 to almost $900,000 in money. So they're saying it was either him or Professor Black Truth, or one of them basically was saying that, implying that when you come up with an astronomical number like that, that they're actually trying to undermine the actual reparation talk, because they know nowhere in the world is the actual country going to be able to come up with that or do that. And the fact of the matter, I think Judge Joe Brown was saying that the actual GDP of America is something like, it's anywhere from like 17, 18 trillion dollars a year. And he was saying himself that he doesn't know if they be willing to give off $14 trillion or $15 trillion in 1 year. My thing is that you don't have to give that in 1 year. If we're talking about, we can do a 20-year plan, you can give $1 trillion of black people a year for 20 years, and that'll pay the debt off in terms of just the money aspect. So I don't expect you to come up and give us $10 trillion in 1 year or 15 trillion. What your ass can do is do $1 trillion a year, and that will more than cover the debt. And you make sure, if somebody dies, if you have kids and they died, and that money goes and doubles with them. So we can do it that way. We don't have to put like I say, we don't have to put $15 trillion, get $15 trillion in 1 year, because Rome wasn't built in a day. But your ass can go ahead. You got the money to cough up $1 trillion a year for 20 years easily, and $1 trillion a year given to black people will make a world of difference. So, like I say, I'm a little bit skeptical as well about that 151 million. I know Newsweek is a big paper, big magazine, and everything else. But I also know there's no way in these white folks who already dead set against it are looking to go ahead and kick out that kind of number. Because if you're talking like, let's say at the least amount, that is 40 million of us. I don't know I'm not a mathematician. I don't know what 40 million times 151 million is, but I know that's an astronomical amount. So my thing here is that go ahead and we can make a conservative effort. The U.S. has more than enough money to kick out $1 trillion a year. You go ahead and kick out $1 trillion, even kick out $1.5 trillion a year to black people for the next 20 years. And that would cover the debt right there. You go ahead and is there anything you want to speak about that, Ari? What, just about that or what?
I feel like whenever the real astronomical value of interest is undermined, it will never be taken into consideration. If I put my money into an account and that account matures over time and that account gains an interest, then that account is worthy of whatever that money is that it has gained. Now, this is the real crux of the matter. What is the patent on the doorknob? What is the value of the patent on the window? What is the doorknob? What's the patent on a lock for a door? How much is the estimation? Because there's people still now making money off of those. And when you go ahead and say that the lives that was lynched, because we know a lot of them were business owners, when you go ahead and say that the wealth that was stolen, because a lot of them was property of slave chattel, and it's given over to families that like Levi Strauss, who are still the main jean manufacturing company in the world, then then my job is not as a government, as the person who is injured, to say to the government, hey, this is how you should go and get the money. You can get it from them. Just like when they go ahead and you owe them money, they seize your bank account, your house, your car, god dang it, your children. So my job ain't to sit back and say how y'all should figure it out. $2 million a year can be a cap that they can put off to offset any type of thing that mess with the money. But at the same time, I heard this already. And the amount of aid that they sent to Ukraine, they could have paid every American $1 million. So if that's what they can do off of the aid that was already sent, then if we have that, and what they say, we only 13% of the population, then $2 million a person, bro, ain't nothing, bro. $2 million per person to each and every one of us. Fuck that. That's good. And if I could have line of credit be for the other stuff, that when I write off my cat that I want to get, that's $700,000 that take a tree, and I could safely aggregate and culture up a land that's full of trees and cut those trees down, debranch them, debark them with a machine and a tool, and then I go ahead and get that tool to be sitting on my land, and I got another thing called a turbo saw, and I can take those blades, those woods, and just 3 men can take every piece I cut up to a 12 by 12, and we can put it to the side. I could get a cat or a skid steer, and I could go ahead and get those bigger blocks and put them to the side, let those dry out for a year. I can go over and get me one of those Lux trailers and put it right on my land where it's at, that can hold water for at least 3 months, and go ahead and fill it up, get the tank jerry can on the back of a new 3500 dually super cab with the Denali edition, so that way when I'm going, I got Wi-Fi and all my shit connected, and then I pick up and I drop off, and whatever I can, somebody years, I just bought one, and they come together, and 5 or 10 of us come together. We put together a community with our $2 million a year, and we now flipping that too, and we turn it into more. Any lines of credit, we write off the invoices. They go straight to the Treasury Department or to the Freedmen's Branch Bureau, and there is ways to go ahead and do it. It don't take rocket science. It takes effort, and it takes will, and it takes a demand to be pushed to get what the fuck is owed to us, and it is not no lesser number. There's no easy way out of injuring a people for that many years to say that, oh, well, we can't do it. No, let me tell you what, because the mafia used to run it a certain way, and that's why they sit where they sit at. You don't tell them what you can't do when they tell you they need their money. It is in your best interest to get to figuring out how the fuck you gonna get that money to them as quickly and as expeditiously as possible. And I'm not wavering. I'm not going down in any questions anyone has. They should refer to Newsweek and ask Newsweek where'd you get those numbers from? What aggregation did you use at Newsweek to come up with that figure? Because it accrues, it accounts for interest, redlining, slavery, all of those things that we were undermining, that opportunity and generational wealth missed, that we're owed now. And so that was written in 2020. It keeps going up every year. They don't pay. And as we got people like that Buffalo shooter, he wants to pay reparations in the form of bullets, and he put it in his iron sights at the end. It is very much prudently among us to get what is already studied. They're talking HR 40. We say no to HR 40. And we have Newsweek for that. And if anyone has any contention with it, go to Newsweek. And that's where we land. And it is not set high to discourage the reparation talk, because who the fuck in your community wants you to think lower of yourself so that it can be more easily for your enemy to say, yeah, they're worth this. Now, fuck that. We're worth less in their eyes, and that's okay, because Newsweek just came up with a study of what we're owed. And I think we need to push what that was done and ask anybody who has any questions to refer to Newsweek.
That's the source. There's a reason you cite source material. So when a person uses it, it is not plagiarized. It is to show proof, and then the people who look at the source can say if the source is a verified source to believe the information that they put out or not. Newsweek is that. Newsweek is definitely that. Presidents and stuff go on Newsweek and get bibliographies and memoirs and stuff like that written. Newsweek has access to President Kennedy when he's sitting back chilling at the White House relaxing, and they're the ones taking photos that they own in their magazines. Yeah, it's that group. So House.gov also has 151 million reparations from Newsweek also, and so they have evidence of that. So we need to go ahead and not let us be jokes, and go ahead and really give us hope. Like my brother said, he told me when he looks in the mirror, he sees 151 million. I told him I see the same goddamn thing. And the Newstoter, you see the same goddamn thing. DJ Seg, you see the same thing. Cadillac, you see the same goddamn thing. Sister Yaya, you see the same goddamn thing. Sister Teresa, you see the same goddamn thing. April Showers, you see the same goddamn thing. Every motherfucker in here, you see the same goddamn thing. When your lineage is verified and you got your shit right, and you come through that straight gate, there's only 12 to get into heaven. So if your bloodline ain't that, you need to Isaiah 14 your ass and be a stranger cleaving unto them. That's the only way you're going to go ahead and collect. Because otherwise, you can go ahead and be wading by the water because it is our turn to come out that bitch. It's time to pay up. And that's exactly the avenue we're taking. That's the avenue that we're pursuing. Thank you, Newsweek. And thank you, Buffalo Shooter, because our ancestors' names will not be in vain. You will pay. And that's exactly why we're coming for reparations, not in the form of bullets, but in the form of 151 million per descendant of slavery. And that's how we roll.
Now this brother, he be spitting some stuff in. I have to give him that. Man, he be dropping some bombs up in these spaces. Like, I love hearing this, man. Hey, I'm with you. If we get 200 million from him, I wouldn't give a damn, personally. Like I say, I just know what I'm saying. My main thing is to stop all this that we ain't got it crap that I know that these people want to say. That's why I said you can at least cough up $1 trillion a year. I'm with doing a plan of $1 trillion a year for 20 years. That'll equal $20 trillion that you be giving back to us, on top of all the other things that you're gonna kick in. But I feel you, bro. If we can get, if they say 200 trillion, if they say $200 million, hell, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If they say they're gonna give us $1 billion per black person, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just want to go ahead so we don't get the excuses that I know these people love to come up with, that we all of a sudden broke. Because I'm with you. At the start of the damn pandemic, when this thing started back in 2020, at the very peak of it, they gave the banks permission to print up, I kid you not, $1 trillion a day to go ahead and do business here in this country. How in the hell can you print up $1 trillion a day and sit up here and talk about you don't have the money? You print money up every day because you know that there's nobody bad enough in the country to come over here and call your bluff and take back what's theirs. That's why you spend trillions of dollars on your damn defense, because you want to make sure you have the top line killers in the world. So I'm with you. Like I say, my only thing is to cover our bases and make sure we don't hit that excuses, because we know $1 trillion in the U.S. ain't shit. Okay, $1 trillion in the United States ain't nothing. You can put $1 trillion. You can give us $2 trillion really a year. So $1 trillion ain't nothing. But like I say, we can do a finance plan where you spending $1 trillion an actual year to build it up and whatnot. I see Cadillac, you got your hand up. Before I give it to you, Cadillac, I just want to go ahead and give a shout out to Maxim for their contribution to Newstoter on the Cash App. We appreciate it. Any of you guys that can contribute at least $1 to the Black New Media, the largest black aggregator in the world, in America, go ahead and hit our Cash App. It's $Newstoter. That's $Newstoter. Cadillac, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Also, Brother Cadillac, before you rock on there, I want everybody in here to kind of tweet out the space. Definitely help promote black media from the grassroots, the right way, the real way. And it's actively done between each and every one of us. And they don't take a march on the middle of the street at a certain time for you to be an activist. And nobody can make you be undermined by saying that you just on Twitter or something like that. Because let me tell you what, governments are on Twitter too. Diplomats are on Twitter too. Presidents and vice presidents are on Twitter too. So don't let nobody undermine you based off of your conversation, because it has power. And so I want you to go ahead and know that. Please share out the space so we can fight the algorithms, because we know they're heavy against us because they don't want any black media to run a black narrative because they don't want to have it be done outside of the scope of white supremacy. So please share that out. Even if you don't have no contribution to give, you can definitely give a generous donation in the form of sharing with a retweet. That is always preferred and always welcome. And guess what? That's what you do in the privacy of your own home. And what you do in private, the good Lord will bless you openly. And we'll land. Our brother Cadillac is on you, Killer.
And before you get a Cadillac, I appreciate that shout out, Irie. I appreciate you always supporting the spaces and supporting the content, liking and sharing and retweeting information. I appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you. Thank DJ. Thank everybody in the space. It's quite a few of y'all. I can't see y'all in here, but thank everybody. Also, like I say, to help us grow, make sure you just visit the site. That don't take anything. Visit the site once a day. I post major content. Like I say, even today's Sunday, I post about 13 news articles. Click through one of them articles and read. So that we well read as a people. Click through one of them articles and read it. And then come back to Twitter. You ain't got to stay on there all day. Just read the article. Click the article, read it, come back to Twitter. Also, sometimes if you guys have a pop-up blocker that may stop you from reading the entire article, you may have to disable your pop-up blocker because it may stop you from going to redirects or other websites. So if you do have a pop-up blocker, if you click read more and you can't click read the entire article, you may just have to disable your pop-up blocker. But go ahead and subscribe to the newsletter as well. That's in the Jumbotron. I put that there. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You want us to grow. You want us to be the voice of Black America, the underdogs, and we need your support. We need you to help us grow. Cadillac, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm here, bro. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Man, thanks for the space. I appreciate y'all. I see a lot of the tribe in here. You know what I'm saying? FBA, we on some B1 shit, black first. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the fact, right? I just want to say this. In line with the reparations. Everything that the previous brother said, I agree with. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to put this message in everybody's ear so we'll know what's going on here, right? When these people discovered this land, right? It was a whole gang. It was like, if you Google it, right, it'll tell you it was over 50 million natives here on this land, right? Now, we all know about the 5 civilized tribes, right, which are the Mongoloid or the lighter skinned looking natives that, on these reservations, and they giving them their reparations right now, right? They got their land, they got their own sovereignty, they got, whatever, right? But what we got to understand is this. When they pulled up, there was a whole lot of black people here. Louisiana, all through the Mississippi Delta, you know what I'm saying? All the way through Florida, all the way through Carolina, even up in New York. Matter of fact, even in California, Queen Khalifa, right? All these were native black people that was here. All you got to do is do the research. I know it's a lot of people who hadn't went back that far. They had research, and I'm not blaming them, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't understand this knowledge. We was already here on this space, right? So what this is the deal what I want to get at right here. When they got here, right, they bought some slaves here. They started importing them here and there little by little, right? But everybody be saying, what a slave ship, right? Because they couldn't import all of the people who they saying there was this slavery here. So what happened was they imported some people from Africa, but at the same time, the natives who was already here, who was of the Negroid race or the Negroid traits, they enslaved them people too. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they took all these Negroids from Africa and these Negroids that was already here and redefined them as blacks or coloreds or Negro or whatever, and enslaved everybody. You feel what I'm saying? Because it was 50 million natives here when they got here, right? So where are the graves to say that they killed out? Because right now it's only 3 million Native Americans that's here in this country, right? So how they go from 50 million to 3 million? Smallpox ain't do all that. The wars and stuff ain't do all that. Because if so, then where are the mass graves? Where are the mass burial sites? I know they got a few of them, but it ain't no 50 million. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they use this whole African American thing to get us out of our birthright, because a lot of us were already here on this land, and by us relating more to Africa than to this native land. And I'm not saying that we're not all Africans on down the line, hundreds of thousands and tens of thousands of years ago. Yeah, I do think and believe and understand that everybody did migrate from Africa or came out of Africa, even white folks, even Spanish folks, even Mexican folks, even Caribbean folks. Everybody came out of Africa thousands of years ago and hundreds and tens of thousands of years ago. But I'm talking about right now, for the last 500 years, we are a totally distinct group from every other black people that's on the planet. and we right here in the face of white supremacy, right? But the whole deal to get us to identify with African American is to take our birthright and not which is our land. They took our land from us. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, we need that money, but at the end of the day, we need our own land too. We need our own land. They still got millions of acres. And when a lot of these Italians and all these Europeans came here when they were doing the immigration thing in the 1800s and in the early 1900s, they was bringing all these white people over here through this immigration thing. They gave them millions and millions and millions of acres of land for free, right? So we need our money first, yeah, but we need our fucking land back second. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make it a divisive issue. You know, that's a whole separate issue. We can do that after we get our money. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, bro, we are native to this land. This is our land. Matter of fact, I just tweeted out a book from this white guy. And actually, I got a TikTok video I made about it too. And this is on my timeline as well, right here on Twitter. His name was Arnoldus Montanus, right? And, you know, he created a book that he got a whole lot of different information from different explorers who was around that time. He was born in 1625. He died in 1683, right? So this is way, way back, even before a lot of this recent history that we talking about. Because a lot of people be in the recent, but this dude here was actually one of the discoverers of this land, or he was over here or traveled here or whatever, right? Regardless of the fact, he created a book with all these other different people's perspectives and their knowledge and their information and their diaries and stuff like that, what they saw when they got over here in the Americas. He created a book, and he got a lot of pictures in the book, and most of the pictures that's in the book are black people. Black people. And I posted it, and I got so many people trolling, they ain't black, they ain't black, they ain't black. They got low haircuts like us. They don't have this long Indian native straight white hair, or like what we could say was white people's hair. They got short cuts like us. They got feathers in their hair. They are native people to this land. And there's so many different illustrations in this book that shows people this. But yet and still, people are so locked into what we believe, what we've been taught, and the limited amount of knowledge that we know, because most of us don't even understand that we was here before Christopher Columbus now got here. So, of course, they had dug back that far. And I get a lot of troll material. I get a lot of people just talking crap, talking shit, you know what I'm saying, on my post, because I'm letting people know we was already here, bro. So at the end of the day, like, they literally took America from the native black people that was already here. You know what I'm saying? Them 5 tribes was just 5 tribes. It was hundreds of thousands of tribes here in America before they got here. So at the end of the day, they need to actually calculate that into their reparations through this land. Or matter of fact, give us back our land. Everybody need to get 50, at least 40 acres. At least 40 acres. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if you want to give us more, we'll take it. But at the end of the day, they still got all these acres of land that the country still owns, the United States of America, and we need to go after that after we get our reparations. And I land my plane right there.
Appreciate that, brother. I want to ask you a quick question. But before I ask you a question, I just want to go ahead and thank Miss Teresa for her contribution on Cash App. I'm going to let you guys know that we're trying to form, me and DJ trying to form us a black-owned business Twitter space. We want to form a black-owned business Twitter space. So if any of you guys have a black-owned business out here in the Twitter space, whether it's a brick and mortar, you have a website, you provide a service, you black, we want to go ahead and we want to have a Twitter space, and we want to go ahead and give you a shout out and let you explain what type of business you have, and let everybody know what type of business you have. Explain it to them. Go ahead and give them your details. Give them the address if you have a brick and mortar, your phone number. If you don't want to do that, just let them know where the website is at. So if any of you guys have a black-owned business, please go ahead and DM me. I'm setting up a list right now of Twitter, of people on Twitter, and I'm putting them in the Newstoter black-owned business. So if you have a black-owned business, go ahead and DM me. Let me know. I'll go ahead and I'll add you. Once we want to get about 25, we want to at least get about 25 businesses in there. I think I got maybe about 8 or 9 right now. So we want to get about at least 25 businesses so we can go ahead and we can let all the black-owned people that have their business, service. I don't care if your business is incorporated. If you have a website or anything else that you're black and you're trying to make money from, and you got a business, we want to go ahead and let you go ahead and give a shout out to it in the Twitter space. Explain what you do, explain your service, and hopefully try to strike up some business for you. So if any of you guys have a black-owned business, please go ahead and DM me after this Twitter space. I'm going to ask you one question, Cadillac, because the topic, and I agree with what you were saying about the reparations and everything else, and about the land and all of that. But Let me ask you a question, just based on the title, "Immigrants and Politics Trashing Black American Culture." What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, the immigrants, as soon as they get here, they're already on white supremacy time in their countries, right? Because the lighter your skin, the better off you is. I don't care what country you're at in America, or matter of fact, in the world. The lighter skins always go against the darker skin. You know what I'm saying? The natives is always the darker skin. A lot of people don't understand that. The native people were already on these continents before Europeans ever came out the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I'm saying? Caucasian means Caucasus Mountains and Asia. That's where they come from. That's their native land. See what I'm saying? But they done went through and monopolized through terror and all type of bull crap, you know what I'm saying? Even the Middle East, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't up, but black people was already in them areas. White people come out the mountains, went up in there, got to interbreed, and got to using the buffer class, which is the Arabs, which they became the Arabs, and so they used that as a buffer class to go and do whatever they want to do to the darker skin or the native people, right? I'm totally against immigration, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just learning this through, because I was nonchalant about immigration, but knowing that now knowing through Security Tribe and all of the other groups that I be in, just, frequency here and there, I'm finally learning that these people are under. I've been knew that they don't mess with us. You know what I'm saying? They don't help deal with us. They don't even try to let us come in and be investors into their businesses here in America. And actually, they look down on us. They talk down on us. They don't want their kids mess with our kids. They don't do business with us. They don't really deal with us. Now, I'm not saying that all of them. I never said all, because I know people be like, man, no, you trying to... No. Now, I'm not saying every last one of them. You know what I'm saying? Because I do know instances where, they do come in, you know what I'm saying, and do a little this and that, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, most of them as a group of people are against black people as a culture, as their traditions. It's wrote into their genetic code, pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Because the lighter skin you have, the better off you are, you know what I'm saying? So, like, at the end of the day, these people really don't mess with us, period. You know what I'm saying? Not economically, not socially, not, you know what I'm saying, religiously. They don't deal with us, you know what I'm saying? So, like, now I'm glad that we're waking up and the message is getting put out that, yeah, man, look, these people really don't like us. They don't deal with us. They're not here to help us. Actually, they're here to carry on the deeds of the white supremacists. They really intended. They really on the same team as the white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? They're really carrying out the doings of the white supremacists. And the white supremacists know this, so they're using them, like they say, as a buffer class. They use them so they stay insulated. They ain't got to do all the work. They got some other puppets, you know what I'm saying, which is all of the immigrants. I don't care where you're from, black, white, Mexican, Spanish, whatever, whoever you is, you are here to really undermine black people, and they on code with that. They on a team with that. You feel what I'm saying? So I thank these different spaces for opening my mind up. I already knew to a certain level, but I just didn't realize to the full extent of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm totally against immigration. We should have built the wall. And matter of fact, I'm going to go a bit further. We need to build a wall, and we need to put guard towers on the wall, just like you got in prison. Have them up there with them choppers, them AK-47, whatever, 50 calibers. And yeah, man, we need to pass laws on this, bro. Black people, we need to make this part of our agenda of anti-immigration. We need to build a wall, bro. We need these same guard towers that they go and guard black people with in prison every day. We need these same guard towers on the borders. You come through, you show your head up, whack-a-mole. We popping you down. You know what I'm saying? You need to get out of here because you're undermining us, bro. So I think we need to get on that level right there. I hope I answered your question, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man. Like I said, I wanted to ask you something about the actual topic, but I appreciate you chiming in. Summer Rain, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello, everybody. Cadillac made the most important point when he acknowledged that we've been here for hundreds of thousands of years. There is verified bones that say that. Now, as far as I'm going to piggyback on what else he said, my genealogy has been traced back to the early 1400s, and it's still going. For the first 200 to 300 years, there are names of my family members that I cannot pronounce because they are indigenous American names. We are not new. We didn't just get here. We've been here for tens and thousands of years. We were here when the sloths were the size of an elephant. We were here. With the woolly mammoth, we were here. I have the paperwork. The archives have our names. Otherwise, I would not have been able to pull my relatives in each tribe with the names that I cannot even pronounce because they are Indigenous American, Native American, Indigenous Indians. I have the proof, guys. I'm a Black American. These are our descendants. There were 50 million of us here. So keep going. Do your genealogy. It will verify the fact because I have it. I have it. I got who I was, who my people was, my 19th great-grandparents, 17th great-grandparents. It's there. All you got to do is just go and do the paperwork. It is easy. Ancestry got it. And also, when they talk about the $100 million or so that's owed to us, they did that aggregate on labor costs. That was an accurate calculation. They owe us. And as far as these other groups trying to undermine our reparations, they can't because the UN has already signed off with America. We are the Native American. When you go in your genealogy, you'll see the tribes you were with. I was with more than 6 different tribes when I go. That's 700 years I got. There is no problem. Nobody can stop us because the UN has already signed off with America that they have to pay the Black American because they know we're the Indigenous Americans, Native Americans. These other people on the list were called the intruders list. Those 5 civilized tribes are being sued. Cherokee, I'm Powhatan, I'm Pamunkey, I'm Rappahannock, I'm Piscataway, I'm Choctaw, I'm Chickasaw. You go 700 years, you're going to see all those Native groups there. No matter what, we're going to get our money. But do not undercut or think that these people can stop it. They can't stop it. There is a treaty with the United States and the United Nations. That's why they're doing this. They were forced to do this. No one can stop us. The agents can't stop us. All of this is just fodder. Like Irie Farmer said, interest, aggregate, labor came up to over hundreds of $millions per person. We want a big down payment, and then if you want to spread it, you can spread it. But we got to get that big down payment as large as we can get it. But you have proof. All you got to do is just look. I'm still not finished. And I'm already in the 1400s. And from 1400 to the 1700s, I cannot pronounce them names. They're Native American people. All we got to do is go to your butcher. You only can pick one tribe. But I'm 6 tribes. So they acknowledge that. The Bureau of Indian Affairs have acknowledged that Negroes are indigenous here. And they asked me, what do you want to call yourself? Black indigenous? You want to call yourself indigenous people? They know that. All you have to do is at least find your first tribe. Pick a tribe because I got 6. So I picked Cherokee because that's the most profitable tribe. They got sued, the Cherokee, so they forced to put us in there. 2018. All you got to do is do the work, and once you have your paperwork like I do, everything's a shoo-in. But we really do have an advantage because we are indigenous to this land, and they know it. Why would they tell me this? The Bureau of Indian Affairs. So we are worth what Irie Farmer's saying. We are worth what Newsweek put out. And I'm going to land my plane, dear.
I want to ask you one quick question, ma'am. Miss Summer Rain, how do you, just based on the title, how do you feel about immigrants and politics trashing Black American culture?
I'm going to repeat again. There's nothing they can do. And when I will voice my opinion, I tell them all the time. But there's nothing they can do. We're citizens. We're sovereign. And that's another thing. Once you find your tribes, which we all have, you're going to become sovereign. You get to drop your social security number. You're not American anymore. You're this nation. That's why you get a CBID card. That card takes you out of that system. But that system has to pay you. That's why the Native Americans keep getting it. But because black people don't know we Native Americans. I didn't know I went back to the 1400s. But the paperwork is there. So no, the Asians, the Caucasian, and any other group in this world, and they know it. That's why they're stomping on us, because they're scared. It's not about just being black. It's about who they know who we truly are, which is indigenous, and we're melanated. Sometimes they call us melanin indigenous. But the most important thing is the power structure knows this. But they're not going to tell you until you go and check your own records. And they keep going. I am like, okay, when I got back to 16, before British came here, I was like, okay. So I go lay down. So I come back up, I'm seeing all these hints. Next thing you know, they done took me back to 200 years. Just gave me the information. And these other groups, they can't do a thing. They're immigrants. We're the only ones, the freedmen out of slavery were the only immigrants. Everybody else is immigrants. The North American continent did not import, but maybe a few here that came over from like the black Europeans. A lot of people mixing up that the black Europeans were slaves. That's where that lineage of that African is pouring in. But other than that, we're indigenous. I can't be the only black American that has this. I wasn't here by myself. So if I was able to get these recorded, certified records, and I'm just one, that means that all the rest of us are. Cadillac said it better than I could ever say it. And I'm not scared of anybody because the power structure knows this. But if the power structure will only beat us if we don't know it, they're not going to give you this, but it's out there. And the Bureau of Indian Affairs is also, they're asking us, what do you want to call yourself? And they're making sure that they include that they know the Negro was the indigenous, Native, Indian, Aboriginal. It's not a secret. It's a secret to us because we just don't want to go there and sit and hit a butt. And I didn't have to go to any outside sources for this. All the outside international sources are already baked inside Ancestry.com. It's already there. And as far as that amount is not unheard of because we got Spain is involved. We got France that was involved. We got the Netherlands, the Dutch. America's going to be pulling money from all them countries because they're involved too. This is not just an American thing. The world hooked up and did this to us, black people, on this land. So that's why when Newsweek made that, they did it on a labor pause. That is what it was back then. So add another 4 years. So I'm not scared of them. I'll tell them to go and kick rocks. But the UN, BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs, the United States government, the British government, the French government, and the Spanish government, they know they have to pay because they all were here. So don't fret. We're going to get it. But we have the advantage because we was enslaved as Native Americans. We had the advantage because we were black. As black people or African American, whatever they gave us so many labels. We had that advantage. We also had the Indian Wars advantage. We have the whole complete advantage being black indigenous. So we're going to keep on fighting, brother, and don't fear. But that amount done by economics is truly an amount. And I read the study, and it took them a lot of time. But they calculated our bodies, labor, and interest, and that's what it comes up to. And I'm going to land my plane.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for adding to the discussion tonight. Definitely great to get your opinion, and definitely appreciate you stopping by and sharing your thoughts with us. Definitely was appreciated. Do we have any speakers in the room right now? We still got man Ray up in here. We got Teresa. We got True.
No, I wasn't the only one here. So if I had that, y'all got it too.
Anybody, Chris Wilson fan club? Anybody want to go ahead and speak? I mean, you're more than welcome.
I think whenever we do understand this, we got another elder that's your mama, and she agrees also. That's our value. We've been so undervalued for so long, and always told to make sure we do a recount and a recount and a recount and a reassessment and a make sure. Meanwhile, other folks get access to the keys to the bank and say, lock it up when you broke leave. It's just like at the end of the day, the reason it's that amount is because our people were that great. And I think that's really the conversation that should be relegated when folks try to disparage against the amount being what it is. Is that our people were that great. We didn't just build a house or a city or a state. We built a nation that all the other nations of the world looked at and marveled after. That's why you don't see any more of those great buildings with that great architecture anymore. You don't see those big real train cars that was pulling damn near cities that they can drive with them. Not these little ones that fall off the fucking tracks. Gotta pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Goddamn, we ain't never have no accidents when we had control of everything. We always operated with engines and things that were flowing with nature. And so now when we see these things operating now, we see them operating from a non-natural stance. And so nature is kicking their ass. We literally going to be the only people that's going to be creating foods that they're going to be viable to eat. The pests and all of the other animals in nature are going to attack them. Because right now, this reparations that we're saying in the form of a 151 million is a perfect number because 1 plus 5 plus 1 is 7. And 7 is the number of perfection. Another brother earlier was just over here in the Sunday late night service, and he said, well, it's it's already 150, so I guess I'll add one more to it, and then that'll make it 151. And he wasn't even talking about the reparations. He was talking about something else, and he was like, well, just like the rum, I guess I'll make it 151. And I interjected and told him, just like the reparations, that's the reason it's 151. And so since we know that that's the number and that's the accumulation that the Newsweek study has put their name and their stamp on, we don't want a Sheila Jackson Lee, a Jamaican immigrant, being that person at the helm that controls the narrative, the conversation, to bring bootlick Sambos in there, like Herschel Walker, who could barely remember what fucking planet he's on, like Joe Biden. And then they sit them up there with Danny Glover, all actors, Matthew McConaughey, all actors, and all these folk in here who don't have no bloodline, no kinship, and no spirit of what reparations is supposed to embody. So we get them folk out of the way. We control those conversations for reparations right here in these circles between Yaman and the West and in Twitter spaces. That's why you see Luke coming over here. You see Sean Combs coming over here. You see Jay-Z coming over here. You see all of these folks coming through, even the Bishop Talbert, all of these folks making plans in their daily day for Twitter now. Before they wouldn't do that. That wasn't how they was doing, but now they are. So now we see that the conversation is being had over here, and we're going to guide it to the righteous place. And anything done in righteousness can never be faulted or should waver on anything. And it always stands for reproof and reproof and reproof. So 151 is the number. Newsweek is the ones who did the study. No HR 40. Say no to HR 40. Tell Sheila Jackson Lee she can keep her dual citizenship. She can operate up there, be a figurehead for whatever black looking thing we want. But when it comes to our ancestors' reparations, we'll control that conversation. And I land.
Great points. Once again, yeah, Sheila. I don't know how Sheila got so high up on discussing reparations, considering she's not even eligible to receive it. But DJ, do you got anything? I see you got your hand up. You want to talk anything about the immigrants and politics?
Yeah, for sure. Now, and to piggyback off what Brother Ari said, and everybody's making excellent points. Support Newstoter. We definitely are trying to build this black entertainment, American, specifically for us, because we see we got a lot of speakers and a lot of people with great stuff, and a lot of content creators. We get our stuff taken all the time, and we don't reap the benefits of it. This is why I made a video called "How to Make Money Off Your Talent," but that's another story. But everybody go to the Jumbotron and look where it says New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. It's the one on the far left, New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. So to piggyback again what our brother Ari Farmer said, is, you got all these jokers piggybacking off our stuff. So if you go to the tweet and you go click that picture, That is the Juneteenth reparations march here in New Jersey. The New Jersey reparations bill number, well, it's a couple of them. It's a couple different ones, but the one I'm kind of like leaning towards is A as in Apple, 938 New Jersey. A 938 New Jersey. So, you know, I've been leaning on the reparations on the ADL side from the beginning, you know, just, you know, doing what I can to help people promote our reparations claims. So a lot of these organizations that you're going to see in the picture, I just never, not to say they don't know anything about reparations, don't understand anything we're talking about here. I just never heard any of these people speak about reparations, and I follow all the New Jersey politics from City Hall, FBI, add it up, you know what I'm saying? Welfare system, anything that got to do with the library, I'm on my state, you know what I mean? I go up and down I-95 and I talk to people, white, black, yellow, blue. I just never heard it, you know, the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice, the ACLU. I never heard y'all speak about reparations, the City Hall of Newark. Never heard y'all speak about reparations until right now. So it seemed like this is like a big grift to me. So we got to make sure if you're in Newark, New Jersey, you got some folks over in New York, somewhere in the tri-state area that could come up and help on the 17th at noon, 12 o'clock, right here at the courthouse on Springfield Avenue, and it's like Market Street, MLK, or whatever the case be. And then we're going to be marching from 12 noon all the way down to City Hall, which is only a few blocks, you know, on Broad Street in Newark, New Jersey. So I yield there.
All right, appreciate that, DJ. Thank you for chiming in. I guess Cadillac, you'll be our last speaker tonight. We're gonna probably go about 2 minutes, so go ahead and say what you want to say. Unmute your mic.
I just wanted to add this part in there for people who don't know. Red, white, and blue. That was a native tribe. They took that whole color scheme from. Feel me? So everything that's over here in America, we literally built it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they enslaved us or whatever they did, and we pretty much built this country, like the foundation. So when they say foundation of Black America, that's what it is. We built the foundation of this country, and we owe for that. You feel me? So, like, a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, even the red, white, and blue. That's why I'm glad, you know, we adopted that as our color for that flag. Because, yeah, red, or the Juneteenth flag or whatever, you know, I know some people don't really believe that or, you know, whatever, but, yeah, they took our color scheme and we taking it back. And that's what that is. I land right there.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in.
I wanted to make a statement.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I know we all grew up in this system and got indoctrinated into white supremacy. So it's natural for us to fight to think that we are worth it, that we are worth more. And you all have said we have built this country. Now, I've said this in some other groups. I think that 151 is the down payment. Because do we really want to trust America to pay us anything over 20 years? Just looking at how they've done things in the past to our people, we have got to recognize that we can't trust America just because we're Black. Now, 151 could be a nice down payment, but the people that were held in Iran in 1979 during the Iran hostage crisis, they were held in captivity for 444 days. So their attorneys got them $10,000 a day for sitting in captivity, not for building, not for working, but for sitting. Are our ancestors not worth at least $10,000 a day for all that they endured? So when you calculate that for 245 years at 365 days, that total is $894 million per person. So I need us to get into the mindset of knowing and believing that we
hold
are.
on, Sister Teresa. Hey, sorry about that to interrupt you, sister. Your mic cut out for a second, but maybe if I'll go back 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I just want us to get into the mindset that we are worth
every damn dollar that is owed to our ancestors and to us. And when I calculated $10,000 a day for work that our ancestors did in captivity, it comes to $894 million each. So as I say, that 151, that's a nice starting point. And you never go in with your high, with your lowest, what you're least likely, what you're least gonna accept. You go in high and believe it. We gotta fight this mindset because they have beaten it into our spirits that we're less than. But But keep that, you're worth billions. Keep that in your mindset as you lay down tonight and speak it. And we're getting this reparations, but that 151, that's going to be the down payment. And I land my plane.
Thank you, sister. We appreciate that. Thank you. And we definitely appreciate you stopping into the Twitter space and contributing tonight. DJ, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I want everybody to go to the Jumbotron and look on the far left. Well, it's a lot of stuff in the Jumbotron that I just put in there. Information concerning what the topic is above reparations, immigrants and how they interfering with everything we're trying to do as far as black folks. So go to the Jumbotron and look all the way to the left, and you'll see up there on Brother Cadillac page. Let me scroll all the way back to as well. Get all the way over here. You see I put a video up. Hold on, I might have to come down and come back up again. Is it in there? Hold on 1 second. Let me try to put it in there again. Hopefully it went through. Yeah. Hopefully it goes through. It just says, what you call it to the YouTube? We call it BTV. If everybody's get a chance, go on YouTube. Go to UBTV. You'll see the brother right there in the blazer with a little button up right there. You know what I mean? And he talking about American history and everything Brother Cadillac saying, Ari Farmer saying, the sisters down there, Teresa, Summer is saying, it's all facts for the most part from what we see and understand because, even if, like Summer said, she traced her answers all the way back to the 1400s. So this is another part of our history that we're learning. See what I'm saying? So we got to go pretty much do this work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of information. I've been up day and night since February, coming back over here to Twitter, just teaching people from either a technical standpoint or just helping somebody like Todd to host this news space or just talking to other people, down in the phone conversation about what it is we need to be doing. And a lot of our people are just not ready. So that's one thing I understand. So, take this information that we're saying here tonight, everything up in the Jumbotron, retweet this stuff, like this stuff. Let the algorithm go crazy. So other black folks that might be on some World Star stuff come over here and see this stuff. Because the more people we got of our people that's going to be on the court with what it is we're doing, the easier it'll be for us to just go live our lives. I yield there.
Right. I'm gonna now, DJ, go ahead and get that's all you want to say, because I'm gonna go ahead and let Irie Farmer go ahead, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. But like I say, if you guys, before I pass it to Irie, go ahead and please, if anybody that's in this space that has not already followed Newstoter, please go ahead and follow Newstoter. If you want to stay up to date on breaking black news, you want to get coverage that's not provided by mainstream America, then go ahead and and follow Newstoter. Also in the Jumbotron, I know it's a lot of stuff in there, but if you can find the YouTube channel in the Jumbotron, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. That's Newstoter. We're on YouTube, so go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then if you guys want to contribute to the Cash App, if it's just even $1, you can go ahead and contribute to Newstoter. If you just got $1 you want to give, that's $Newstoter. Once again, that is $Newstoter. It may that $1 goes a long way in helping us get this information out there and dispensing it to the masses. Once again, that is $Newstoter. Ari, go ahead.
Brother Newstoter, thank you for the space. I appreciate all of the family coming through here today. It was absolutely amazing and wonderful. It was kind of a continuation even of what was going on last night. Check out the Jumbotron, especially for the anti-reparationist Win Wan Wu or Wu Win Wan, and let her know how you feel from the ancestors. I just wanted to thank Sister Teresa, honestly, because a lot of times when we go in this room, we got to deal with the mindset that we're not really owed a lot of this stuff because they've made us think that we're always worth less. But at the same time, what she just said just now was so impactful about making sure we recognize that, like, hey, this is the down payment. That right there was everything. That's how you elevate a talking point, and that's how you build on it, right? And so, and she came with the numbers. Like, she didn't come with just, she gave a case precedence and said these people got 10,000 a day for sitting. So of course our people least worth that, and then you tally down, and it's worth, and then we only have we're worth of the down payment is a quarter of it. So that's right. That's all. That's proper. Like, if you want a down payment, that's 20 to 25%, and that's exactly what that would be with 151. So we're gonna go ahead and get them, like, and I really want us to get in our mind that we know it's more, but we want to keep it at that number because $2 million a year in the form of cash is not a lot. Again, we already know in the aid that they sent over to Ukraine, they could have paid every American $1 million, and that's just in the aid to one country of one battle that has nothing to do with any Americans. So this is what they're doing on their own, managing books with our tax dollars, so we can reinvest as Brother Marcel and his campaign. Please go ahead and check out Brother Marcel. I'm glad that segue naturally came from the ancestors just now. Go give Brother Marcel some love. He's at the anchor leg of this meet. Anybody who know about track, and he carrying it home. And so we're gonna keep giving him all of that energy. And if you can donate to his platform, check his page out for Marcel for Congress hashtag and everything else. Brother Marcel is very easily accessible. But to finish this, Brother Marcel says, rebuilding Black America will rebuild America. And so something of that effect, or like repairing Black America, is repairing America. And so I just want to let people know that when they give us our reparations, that is the repair that America has been waiting for. They just know that we'll be on top, and the first shall be last, and the last will be first. So much love to you, Brother News. Brother DJ said, we hold it down very good. I love the balance and energy, and we just keep each other boomed up. We just iron sharpening iron. And we all know that when it comes time, we're going to swing that blade, and we're going to make one good swipe at it, and we're going to get reparations when that bitch is spilled. So one love, family. I love y'all. Much love and blessings.
Absolutely, no doubt. And like I say, this was another great space. Last week we was on fire. We had Judge Joe, and we had another space where we squashed the whole nonsense about the B1 and secure the tribe stuff, and went ahead and got back on important issues. I'm trying to hear all of that nonsense. There's no beef. We just sometimes families have disagreements and arguments. It is what it is, and we moved on from that. And this was here another enlightening, definitely another enlightening space here that we had tonight. I'm also thinking about just to let you guys know, I'm not sure what the topic of the space is going to be tomorrow. Sometimes I look at Newstoter and I see what article may be best suiting for the family or whatever. I'm thinking seriously about doing something about the maternal health issues that we have with Black women. That Black women are dying so much giving birth to kids in this country. That's the issue that's kind of troubling to me right there. So at this point, I'm not entirely sure what space we're going to do tomorrow, but we definitely will be doing a space Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly Thursday. I want to be as active as possible on here. I want to communicate and reach the masses as much as possible. You guys are helping Newstoter grow, and you're helping the reach of the new Black media. You're also helping the reach of the largest Black curator of Black news in America. So also check out be on the profile page, because tomorrow is Monday, and tomorrow will be a lot of content that I will be tweeting out on Twitter. Expect anywhere from 10 to 20, maybe even 25 news article posts. So get ready. It's going to be coming. If you guys don't like getting hit with a lot of content, then this is not the site to follow. I'm telling you that right now. We put out the news. We dispense it to the masses with the hope that they'll go ahead and they'll educate themselves, and they'll also spread the word about what's going on in Black America today. And like I said, if any of you guys are not following Newstoter, please go ahead and follow Newstoter, so we can go ahead and increase the reach and whatnot. So we definitely want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and doing their thing. And once again, like I say, don't be a stranger. Stop in these spaces and also speak. You know, go ahead and let us know how you guys feel about certain issues, certain topics, or whatever. We may even be doing something in terms of entertainment, just some of the stuff where we see another rapper got killed today. So I may do something about that. And then we got the rapper getting killed. We got a rapper got killed last week or the week before, and we got one got killed this week. So it's just, you know, certain things we're going to address even in the entertainment field as well. We got Deshaun Watson and his issues in football and whatnot going on with the cases and whatnot. So there's many issues and topics that we're going to touch, and also in the political sphere as well as news and lifestyle and culture. We want to be able to touch all bases. We want to be the ultimate curator. We are the ultimate curator. So we're not just going to be a one-trick pony here. We're going to do many, many, many things. So once again, I want to thank you guys for coming out and supporting this space tonight. As always, for those who are not following, go ahead and follow. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. I think it got something like 207 subscribers. I ain't ashamed to say that. So anybody that listens to this space, go ahead and subscribe. You will help us grow. Rome wasn't built in a day. America wasn't built in a day. We need your support. We need your help. Help us grow. Help us get bigger. We definitely appreciate you. We appreciate the love that you guys are showing, and we appreciate the intelligent minds that come into these spaces, and the calm that is shown and everything, and just the love. And we have elders in here with younger people, middle-aged people, and we're all doing our thing to spread the word and get our message across to the masses. So once again, I thank you guys for all coming out and supporting and showing much love to Newstoter. For those who can, please at least try to contribute $1 on the Cash App. For those who can't, we understand. Go ahead and subscribe to that newsletter in the Jumbotron. We had quite a bit of stuff in the Jumbotron, so next time we'll try to keep it a little bit less stuff in there, so you guys can make sure you can find that newsletter. But once again, I want to thank my co-hosts, Irie and DJ. I want to thank all the speakers tonight, and I want to thank all the people who came in, who just listen and just, you know, appreciates the conversation that we have in these spaces. Like I said, tomorrow is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Expect anywhere from 10 to 20 some odd posts a day coming from Newstoter. And if you can, go ahead and like and share. Definitely go ahead and retweet those posts, and make sure you at least find one post that's suitable to you that you like, and go ahead and read it. Click that post and go to Newstoter and help support us by just coming to the site. So once again, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Much love to you and the entire family. B1, FBA, Security Tribe, 8OS, freedmen, indigenous, all of the brothers and sisters in the world. Until next time, to tomorrow, probably 9 o'clock, I'll see you guys and have a good one. God bless you.
Hey, Total, real quick, don't forget, we are looking for people to promote your business. So if you got a business, real quick, you can hit Newstoter, you can hit me, you know, just hit us up. We all over the web, Stag One, Newstoter. You can hit us at any type of DM. We are looking for people to do, you know, that's doing your thing. You know, you ain't got to have a tax ID, but if you're doing your thing on Instagram, you know, you got a following, you want to promote yourself more, just go ahead and hit us up. But good night. Love y'all. Reparations up.
Also, let me say a big thank you to Antoine and Eugene for the contributions on Cash App. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you again, and you guys have a good night.